It's another go round of SDHAM. John, here you there. Thanks for dropping by. Tuesday Thoughts. Today's the day during the week where we kind of catch up on newsy things and stories and the weekend from things that we didn't get the chance to catch up on yesterday. So that means that MLS is on the clock. We've got some news. We come in transfers that are up on the board, and we got to talk about that. There's some like newsy news involving Cass and courts and Crystal Palace and things like that. We got to get into that. And so we'll carry that through this morning. And if there's any AM news that breaks transfers and such, we'll get into that as we go. But hour number one, the technical director and now new. I feel like we need Justin Roberts from AEW or the Fink from some and new head coach of the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, Lloyd Owers, is going to join us, and he's going to talk. They're a month out from Arkansas, and that in and of itself is crazy, considering everything that we've been able to talk about in their growth as a program. They are a month away from their first ever set of matches, 11v11. Springdale, Arkansas, the week of the 14th through the 16th, and the poster's out, and I'm going to the poorhouse, and I've got to pre-order it, and I know it's coming. Like all the jerseys, all of the support, all of the posters that are now out. Yeah, I mean, look, they're getting a boatload of my money. Let's just put it that way. They're getting a boatload of my money. And if you want a scarf, it's on the other side of this door. Like I said, I got about 10 before I've got to reorder. So they're on the other side of this door. And I've sent stuff to Saudi Arabia. I've sent stuff to the Far East. I've sent stuff to England. I've sent stuff here to the U.S. It's been fun. And obviously, we're not stopping, mind you. I'm just saying I've got 10 left before Arkansas in about a month's time with the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. Don Star's still partying over Chelsea. You and Michael had both. There's a slow-mo out there that has the Cole Palmer fake pass where it's like, he's doing his little dip and dodge and duck and driving things, and he fakes to the right and then he keeps going to the left. It's a gorgeous slow-mo. So Lloyd Orr is going to join us bottom of the hour from England. And so we'll get the update on everything. And they've done another Kickstarter project to help out with expenses. Teams are coming. That's been paid for. Now they've got expenses and sponsors and things, and they've got to try to figure out the rest of this for about a month. So Lloyd's going to join us bottom of the hour, and we'll talk about stuff. Then in hour number two, don't know her schedule. So that's why it's kind of like a wide open hour number two, where we'll probably talk about MLS and things and everything else that's going on in the day. Jess Charman's going to join us at some point in hour number two. Whenever her world slows down long enough where we can visit for 20 minutes, we'll catch up with Jess, and we'll find out what it was like with Jess with Chicago and San Diego, and we'll find out what she thinks about the weekend that was. That's why I'm kind of pushing Major League Soccer like to hour number two, so we can talk about MLS from last weekend and get you ready for the midweek. Set your fantasy teams accordingly. Set your fantasy, set your fantasy, set your fantasy. Double match week. I said this last week. Some folks got caught napping. I, however, did not. Thank you very much. So until further notice, look, it's Messi and he's captain. I mean, and then the rest of it you figure out for yourself. And Oscar Ustari is a salary cap effective keeper who's getting a lot of starts. So set your fantasy teams, double match week. Jess Charman's going to join us in hour number two. Don't know when. We'll talk Major League Soccer. We'll talk Chicago, San Diego, and we'll get you ready for what's happening in the midweek in Major League Soccer. So it's kind of like a review preview kind of thing. Tomorrow, it is standard fare. It is Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes. He'll join us at 9:15. Hopefully the busiest man in all of Major League Soccer, Dylan Butler, joining us from MLSsoccer.com at 10 o'clock. Thursday, we're still efforting guests in hour number one, but we'll be talking about Atlanta United after the match with Chicago, probably for hour number one. Then the Power Hour with Nino and Nico, that'll be joining in hour number two. Then Friday, once again, getting you ready for the weekend, where the team from 85 is coming down, and they're going to be joining us this weekend. Oh, by the way, Will Pelagic, radio play-by-play voice for Charlotte's going to join us 9:15 on Thursday. He's going to let me get through the opening monologue. Then Willie P is going to join us. We'll talk Charlotte, and then we'll get you into the Power Hour. So it might be a little bit of Atlanta United between like 9:30 and 10 and kind of a quick thing. And then, so Willie P, Nino, Nico. And we do have the tail end of the intermedio where we can talk to Nino about that. Plus transfers. Victor Gyökeres looks like it might be a done deal. He didn't want to go to practice at Sporting. Arsenal is trying to lock it all down. So it's kind of getting there. So there's plenty of transfer talk to talk about. Plenty of transfer talk to talk about from the Department of Redundancy Department. Thursday. So Thursday, Will Pelagic, Nino Torres, Nico Moreno. That's Thursday. Friday, get you ready for the weekend all over again. We'll pick up what we missed with Atlanta United and the rest of Major League Soccer. Hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join us at 9:30. We'll see if we can get somebody from MLS and Apple TV to come and join us at 10 o'clock, and then we'll get you ready for the weekend at 10:30. So that's the week as we know it right now. So Lloyd Owers joining us in about 20 minutes. Then everything else, Jess Charman joining us in hour number 2. Okay. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. This is the QR code that you use to start your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Hit your QR code there. Then what you do is you use the code SoccerDownHere15, and after you've bought out the store, you can buy out the store to 15% discount. And that's how you start your day off at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. I'm having the problem again. And I'm trying to remember protocol of what we did last time. And it might have been on a Tuesday morning, Tom. It might have been on a Tuesday. I can't quite remember, but I think it was on a Tuesday. And I was trying to remember what we decided. And it was, once again, it's issues with breakfast. It probably deserves its own hashtag. And I think what we decided to do was pull the slide pin off. I think that was what we decided to do. Yeah. Okay. So the slide pin has been pulled, so it is no longer a part of this process. And I think, yeah, okay, that's what we did. All right. So, yeah, because when I went into breakfast this morning, this wasn't opening, and so I was trying to remember what protocol was, what we decided last time. And so, I wish, and this is the gallon bag. This literally is the gallon bag. So the gallon bag might actually, is there a 2-gallon bag? That might be the big question. Is there a 2-gallon Ziploc bag? So that way, when I put breakfast in the Ziploc bag, I don't continue on a weekly basis. But it's not every day, though, and that's the thing. It's not every day that I have this issue. It just kind of pops up. It just kind of does its own thing, and it happens fairly randomly. It's not something that happens with any great consistency. So I think, once again, it's the death of this particular Ziploc bag. So this is going to go. It's going to go into the garbage, and the slide tie is going to go probably in the garbage too. But no, I couldn't quite remember what protocol was when we figured this out last time, and so I'm guessing that was it. And so now breakfast is going to have to wait until after the show. So we'll just have our morning caffeine, and we'll work our way through it. Okay. So now that crisis has been averted, that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, here's your QR code for those of you who are wanting to start your day off at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Hit your QR code. That gets you into Kickoff Coffee. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right, now, rest of the stuff. Go to Olive in York, get the first ever SDH jersey. Helps out our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25. It is navy. It is floppy collar. It has a very, very 80s kind of a feel to it. Some of us of a certain vintage appreciate that fully. Navy jersey, Kaiser Permanente across the front. We couldn't do anything without our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Beyond Goals Mentoring on one sleeve, Soccer for Good on the other sleeve. Don't forget, you can always go back into the Greg Garza Instagram archive, and you can see him doing blue steel, modeling the jersey. Personalized, you can either go white or the lighter blue, Carolina blue, Columbia blue, sky blue, whatever you want to call it. Check with Alex and Abby and figure out which one's better for you. Grady Baby Co. Pick up the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear, and that helps out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta public school system. You can get it in red or black, gold embossed lettering on the catchphrase, SDH Network logo on one cuff, and the Grady Baby logo on the other cuff. You can go t-shirt, sweatshirt. I've gone sweatshirt. It's incredibly comfortable, and that helps out middle school soccer programs at APS. Also, don't forget, you can go to fanatis.co/soccer down here. Continue your increased degenerative nature of viewing everything from around the planet. You get all the BNs, Nuestra Tele, CDO, Liga 1 Max Pro, and BN has even gone into like Tigo Sports and Canal 4 and CATV and stuff like that to add to their dossier. And Bet Di Mayor has now been expanded in Colombia to where they lost RCN, but they're now gaining. If you are a subscriber, you're gaining the entire Colombian library. So South America, Africa, all the BNs, AFCON going on right now, League, all the things. Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and that helps out once again them. That helps out us and continues to add to all the places that you get to watch the sport around the planet. All right. And then you also have, once again, our friends from, how do we phrase this? Our friends from, the Chant app, the SDH. You can become a Fanatico. This is what I was trying to have formulate in my brain. Once again, be a Fanatico, $10 a year. What do you do for $10 a year? Well, you can, once again, help out all of the Soccer for Good campaigns that we have by being a Fanatico. You can join here. You get to be a part of this particular community. A lot of great discounts from a lot of great beer joints in the northern half of the state. A couple of restaurants where you can get discounts and things. You can get discounts at Lloyd Soccer Shop, get off of select Atlanta United gear for their shop up in Alpharetta. And that's just the beginning. You can go to Chateau Arenal in Costa Rica and stay there, and you get a discount with a code. So, like, literally, you want to go see Costa Rican soccer, you can drive like 2 hours north of San Jose, go to Chateau Arenal, you get to stay with a discount code. That kind of stuff is what you got by being a Fanatico at group.chant.fan, group.chant.fan/soccer down here/join. I think I've got it right. That's the thing. Like I said, I'm trying to type something and I'm kind of blind typing toward the end because if I misspell something, then it's misspelled, and then that stinks because you try to do copy and paste and then it takes you to the wrong place. So there you go. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here/join. You got that there. So morning, Abby. Morning, Alex. Morning, Tom. Okay, so Tom, thank you. Tom is telling me that 2-gallon bags do exist. But let me guess, Tom, that there's only like 4 in a box as opposed to like the 16 or the 18 or the 20 that are in the gallon box just because of the sheer size. But no, thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know that the 2 gallons do exist because I did not know that and I can't find them. Every place I've been, it's like you always look and you find that gallon bag. Gallon bags are there in various and sundry, cheap versions of what have you. But, I didn't know the 2 gallons existed. I can find the gallons anywhere, and there's like the knockoff gallon, and then there's like the brand name gallon, then there's the brand name competition gallon. But I haven't seen the 2s, but I'm glad that the 2s exist. There we go. Okay, so Abby is telling me 8 or 10 in the 2 gallons in the box. Okay, so Abby is saying that there's 8 or 10 in a box, and she's got them. And so go to where shopping is a pleasure and pay like $9 for 8 or 10 to a box. Traditionally, that's how that works. I for the life of me, I have never been able to get anything inexpensive at that particular location. Maybe it's because they understand placement where shopping should be a pleasure, and they understand necessity. Excellent planning on their part. And Tom is reminding me of some place that I have video ties to and streaming services and things like that. And that might very well be true, but that's also reminding me that I would have to use the internet to go get something. Just saying. I know. It's out there. Okay. Lloyd Owers set to join us in 10 minutes to get the update on everything going on in the Marshall Islands. He's going to hop on. We'll kind of build the story forward, find out where they are in getting this close to Arkansas. And they were on Sky Sports News the other day. And for them, that's like a big deal. That's a big blanking deal for anybody. And so I think Lloyd was in his house, in his office space, sorry, and did like a full 5 minutes with our friends at Sky Sports. So very, very cool. Talk about that, talk about everything, go over the coaching staff and find out who's been named. Justin Whaley, we've had him on the show. Justin, if you'll remember, we had Justin on the show, and he was on the island doing a clinic. And I think we caught him first thing in the morning when he was having his first cup of coffee and maybe a little breakfast. And so that's how far around the planet, because I think we're talking like 16, 18 hours, something like that. And so we caught up with Justin one afternoon, and we ran that interview in the show. But, yeah, so we'll catch up with Lloyd, find out about the staff, find out about updates, find out about what they need, find out about Arkansas, the whole schmear. We're getting all of that. We'll get all of that. And Alex is giving me grief for talking ill about where shopping is a pleasure in the presence of Floridians. Man, I went to school there. Shopping is a pleasure and prices are a premium. That's probably their new tagline. Okay. I know that we're kind of discussing news and things. Like I said, we'll get into MLS in hour number 2. No more candy drop-offs. Actually, the boss has the candy, Alex. It's not even me. All right. So I know we're talking about Crystal Palace and ownership and things like that, and who's going to be going where and what competitions, things like that. Just here's a bit of an update where that's concerned. Court of Arbitration for Sport dismissed an appeal against being removed from the Conference League by UEFA over multi-club ownership rules. And this particular club, I've never heard of it, and I got to figure out where they are. Slovakia. So a Slovakian professional football club based in Dunajska Streda, which competes in the Slovak First Football League. This is how obscure we get sometimes when it comes to rulings. A Slovakian First Division club's appeal about being removed from Conference League over multi-club ownership rules was dismissed. The appeal centered on UEFA changing assessment dates from June 3rd to March 1st. Dale Johnson at the Four Letter says that is not a positive for Crystal Palace in their appeal to CAS. The Slovakian club, argued UEFA's change in the relevant assessment date was invalid and not enforceable. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing to sit there and say. It's like, well, the governing body. Hey, governing body, you changed the rules, and that's not enforceable. I hate to break it to the Slovakian club, but them's the rules and them's the governing body. They can pretty much do whatever they want. The Slovakian club also argued the structure of their holding company did not violate UEFA regulations, no possibility of it exerting influence. So I'm guessing that they are working their way through the John Textor defense of, yeah, I owned a lot, but I didn't have any influence. So you got that. CAS panel unanimously found that the change of the assessment date was in accordance with the procedures established by UEFA. Basically, yeah, we followed our own rules. We're telling us that we followed our own rules and that there were breaches by the Slovakian club in the competition regulations. CAS also found the same person was the managing and sole director of another club that I've never heard of before. Well, this is really testing the acumen of stuff around the planet. All right, so the second club in question that is allegedly owned by this group is owned in Hungary. So just ETO, they are a Hungarian club. And so this club in Hungary has the same managing director, and he's also the CEO, VP, and a board member of the previous club that we were talking about. So ETO stay in Conference League. The Slovakian club is now out. Since they're both fourth, the place went to the higher-ranked league on UEFA coefficient, so that meant Hungary and Slovakia out. CAS is only going to rule on the application of the regulations. Date change meant the regulations were always going to be the deciding factor. Selling shares after March 1 probably is not going to make a difference. Changing the date to March 1, far more likely to penalize clubs who qualify for Europe unexpectedly. See Crystal Palace. UEFA circular from last year was crucial in understanding why Man City's Girona, Man United Nice judged differently. Special dispensation for a blind trust around the compliance due date. And that also ran into the issues with Nottingham Forest and our man, Mr. Evangelides. So Crystal Palace has the major issue. Regulations state that if just one of the listed indicators are triggered, it considers it a decisive influence. Having 30 or more % of the club's total shares is one of the indicators. John Textor had that on March 1st. So John Textor having what he had when he had it, when it comes to possession, 9/10 of the law doesn't quite help Textor out in this case. And so, so it is not looking good for Crystal Palace when it comes to their appeal of CAS. And so we will see what happens there. We'll get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, who's moving where and doing what. And it looks like Arsenal is lining up Eberici Eze. They're lining up Crystal Palace without triggering the release clause. So it's like, we like him. We want to talk to you about him, but we don't want to trigger the £68 million release clause. So we'll see what happens there. Liverpool have held talks over Jean-Philippe Mateta. Frenchman's meeting the club reps in Paris. Manchester United reached an agreement with Brentford to sign Brian Mbeumo officially. Brentford also considering a move for Ipswich's winger Omari Hutchinson as a possible replacement for Mbeumo. Benfica holding talks with Chelsea over a permanent over Joao Felix. Blues unwilling to sanction a loan deal. After holding initial talks in January, Chelsea's got an active interest in Garnacho. France's Benoit Badiashile has been linked to Marseille, but says he'll be staying at Chelsea. West Ham have added Liverpool U21 duo Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton to their list of targets, 4-letter paper. Manchester United have made contact with Lyon to ask about the availability of Corentin Tolisso. Gabon international and former international Arsenal striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang set to leave Al-Qadsiya and join Marseille. Manchester City is going to sell James McAtee this summer with an eye on generating pure profit from a PSR and a financial fair play perspective. McAtee is in Germany to visit Eintracht Frankfurt, according to Fabrizio Romano. Wolves are close to an agreement on a £15 million deal for Fluminense winger Jean Arias, 4-letter paper. Switzerland's midfielder Granit Xhaka has agreed to join Saudi Pro League side Niam, and they've yet to finalize a fee with Bayer Leverkusen. Norwich in talks once again with Wolfsburg over a deal on Josh Sargent. Brentford, once again, we mentioned Omari Hutchinson. Danny Ings is on the verge of joining Middlesbrough. West Brom closing in on a £1 million agreement with Jeanbuk to bring in Jean Wu. And it looks like another Lyndon Gooch, former Stoke defender, is close to completing a free transfer to Huddersfield. And that should update you on most of your dudes when it comes to who's going where, doing what, and when. Ben Jacobs, though, has been very, very busy this morning. Frankfurt turned down a bid from Newcastle worth close to £70 million for Hugo Ekitike, according to Florian Plettenberg. Clubs remain in talks. Newcastle sent a delegation to Germany. Liverpool and Chelsea are also interested. Chelsea could still sign another attacker. Nkunku expected to leave. Nico Jackson not untouchable. Liverpool are prepared to make Alexander Isak the most expensive recruit in British history if he is genuinely available. Hang on that. Sorry, Alex. Liverpool have also rejected Bayern's €67.5 million bid for Luis Diaz. The first bid was made this morning, according to Ben. Clear in preference to keep, despite Diaz being open to Bayern. Diaz will only be sold for a significant profit, and if Liverpool can find a replacement. So keep an eye on that one. Mark Travers completed his move to Everton, already trained with his new teammates on a 4-year deal. Morgan Gibbs-White training with Nottingham Forest as he waits clarification on his future. Forest prepared to take legal action, alleging Spurs learned of Gibbs-White's £60 million clause illegally. Gibbs-White remains keen on the move, will continue his preseason as normal. Told he has no desire to leave Forest on bad terms. The clubs remain in talks with the deal not off yet. So if So if it is alleged that Spurs found out about a release clause of 60 million pounds illegally, you're still negotiating with Nottingham Forest over Morgan Gibbs White? We're mad at you, but we're still going to talk to you. So Evangelinos Marinakis, the end of the day, blind trust. Whomever is in charge at Nottingham Forest is still happy and pleased with the idea of perhaps a 60 million pound plus transfer for Morgan Gibbs White. We're mad at you, but we're still going to talk to you because it's in the middle of 8 figures. Todd Boehly had an interview on Talk Sport with Jim White. Boehly quoted as saying, "I think the form that you've seen is everything we hoped when we were putting this together. We're hopeful that every day we wake up, the odds are that Chelsea are going to win something big." Brentford have also confirmed Jordan Henderson is signed on a 2-year deal. Pictures are out. He's holding the jersey. Luka Modric completed his move to Milan after 13 years at Real Madrid. 39-year-old signed a contract until June of 2026, so it's a year-long deal, with a 1-year club option to extend. Modric will be wearing number 14. 39 years old. 39 years old, Luka Modric. Absolutely crazy. Well, and Kefsey, I don't know. I mean, it's like, and to Tom's point, you'd think that clauses would be widely available for everyone to see. But Kefsey says you're not allowed to know a clause. I'm interested in your player. How much is it going to cost? Well, that's for us to know and for you to find out. Well, what if we're interested? Well, I don't know. We're not going to tell you it. How interested are you? Huh? How interested are you? Are you really interested? Yes, we're really interested. Well, how much is the release clause? We're not going to tell you. Maybe, I'm guessing here, that the information is, it's like, I'm supposed to be the one to tell you. You're not supposed to find that out. If you're interested in my player, is my guy, I want to be the one to break the news to you. I want to be the one to give you sticker shock. I want to be the guy that sits there and says, well, it's going to cost you X, Y, or Z. You don't, because it's probably something along the lines of competitive advantage in the bidding process or in the process of trying to negotiate a deal. You feel like you don't have the upper hand if you walk to the table. Well, okay, so we're interested. Okay, you sit down, glass table, the way I always talk about, the long glass rectangular table, or encased in the hermetically sealed glass room, or maybe you do it by Zoom these days. I don't know. And you sit there and you're like, well, so how much? Well, the release clause is 60 million. Okay. And instead, it's the other way around. So if Nottingham Forest is in their long conference room at the glass rectangular table encased by all of the glass windows, doors closed. So Spurs comes walking up to the table, and it's like, okay, so we know the release clause is 60. See, then you're at a competitive disadvantage when it comes to the negotiation. I think that's where Nottingham Forest is coming from, in addition to having their feelings hurt about the information being found out. And to Tom's point, I think that it's pretty much available anywhere if you look hard enough. But I think that it's just Nottingham Forest's feelings were hurt because they weren't the ones that got to tell the story. Well, if you really want Morgan Gibbs White, it's going to be X number of dollars. Well, then you come walking into the room. Okay, so we know Morgan Gibbs White is 60. That way, Nottingham Forest is already on their heels when it comes to negotiating. See, that's the art of the negotiation is where we are with that. Okay, this one's going to be fun. All right, he said he was going to be running a little late, but I mean, because he is a captain. He is a captain of industry. Oh, and Lloyd, right temple. You got a little hair that's kind of hanging up. It's kind of like me. Yeah. You put too much. There it is. You put a little too much mousse on this morning. We're gonna bring in Lloyd Owers. How are you, brother?
Yeah, what an introduction.
Hey, man. That you got a style and profile, man. You got this new job title to add to the business card and everything. So it's we got to make sure that you are finally coiffed and that you are locked in now that you have all these multiple job titles.
Yeah, I know that's what it is. It's multiple now, isn't it? So I just got to try to look the part, but just fail.
Yeah, well, that's me all day long. So first off, where are you? Are you at home?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'm still in the UK at the moment.
Okay, I didn't know if you were like in somebody's house someplace or if you were in some remote island somewhere. I was just trying to.
No, no, no. Still in the UK at the moment. So fly out to Arkansas in about 2 weeks. Nah, what is it? Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, so the 15th. So you got. Hang on, let me.
Basically 4 weeks from today for the
Yes,
games.
yeah, we were talking about
We
that.
go out, yeah, we go out a week earlier just for a bit of a camp and actually get the guys together because I think that's going to be the biggest battle, really, just actually uniting people from so many different backgrounds.
And that's why I wanted to get into this discussion to get this update. Uh, Kickstarter campaign number 1 came up. You made your marker. Now you got the second Kickstarter campaign up. And as I told you in our secret little WhatsApp group, you released the commemorative poster, and you're going to send me to the poorhouse with all the stuff with all the jerseys that you're releasing, with all the posters that you're releasing. Man, you're going to send me to the poorhouse with all the stuff that you're putting out there to promote Marshall Islands.
Buying every single item.
Yeah, and the boss is going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Have you got the away one?
I don't have the. I don't have the away one yet, and I don't have the 3 that are the individual the individual groups. I've got both home jerseys. I have the no home and I have the original, and of course I have all the other things. But
and did you enter the competition for the coaches one?
I figured, man. I figured let everybody else enter that one. I'll let. I mean, trust me. Did I want it? Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted other folks to enter it first because for me it'd be feeling kind of like a ringer, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Extra player.
Yeah, and so I was like, we'll let other folks kind of get into that one and share and all that. And I did mention that I've got about 10 of our scarves on the other side of this door for anybody that wants to pick them up. So
there you go.
So where are we right now when it comes to getting everything organized? You mentioned obviously you're about 3 weeks out from traveling to Arkansas. Where do things stand right now in getting everything squared away for the Outrigger Challenge Cup in Arkansas in a month?
I guess we would like it all to be finished and tied off now, so that it gives 3 weeks of just a bit of a calming time to make sure everything is ticked off and the I's dotted and T's crossed, but it's not. It's we've got accommodation is organised for every team, every nation taking part, and I think that's the thing for us. We were getting used to and getting our heads around because we're the host nation. We have to accommodate and organise everything for the other teams. So, but yeah, the accommodation's organised. The guys there have been fantastic. Flights are all covered. That was probably last month. That was like last month's job. We've had to sort visas for 3 players because obviously the Marshall Islands have compact agreement with the US. They can have free movement, but we have a couple of players plus 1 coach who have been in the Marshall Islands like 15 years, are eligible to play for the Marshall Islands because of the duration they've been there, but they've just never bothered to go through the process of the passports just because they thought, well, we'll never need it really. And now obviously with the momentum that the soccer federations had, they do need it. And now it's too late for them to start the process of the Marshallese passport. So we needed to get them clearance and a visa to enter the US on their Solomon passport. So that's been fun. So we've sorted that. But to be honest, it's actually been pretty straightforward. I think because of the link between the US and the Marshall Islands, it's pretty straightforward. So that's been okay. I mean, at this stage now, it really is just the last little bits and pieces, sorting local transport, team buses and stuff like that. All the little things that you just don't really think of. Catering, for each nation. And fortunately, we've built a bit of a team now where it's not just me, Matt, and Justin. It's not just all these different. We have Woody, who is on the ground in Arkansas, who's fantastic and does so much. But then we also have a few different volunteers that are other locals as well that are helping to pull it all together. So at this stage, it's just those little last pieces of the jigsaw to put together now.
What's it like to see this groundswell of individuals that are, spread to the four winds, whether it's, in Micronesia, there in England with you, and in Europe, and then the folks in Arkansas coming together to make
Yeah.
this happen in a month? What's this been like for you?
It's surreal in that sense. I think when we started the project, obviously we had aims of an 11v11 game, but at that point, I think when we first started, we didn't realize there was such a big population in the US. And obviously, as the journey's gone on and on and on, we've discovered all these different people from it. We've got about a third of the squad is going to be US mainland based. A third of the squad is from Kwajalein, with players who are either born in the Marshall Islands or who are American but have been in the Marshall Islands for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we have 5, I think, coming from Majuro. So the last third, really, I'll loosely call it a third, but they're coming from Majuro. And I think it's a tough one because obviously we want Majuro to have the biggest presence because it's where most of our activity's been. But at the same time, it's also where the newest introduction to soccer is. So we've got one guy who plays in Honolulu, has played in the US, but now studies in Honolulu, but is from Majuro. He's a good player. But then the others are just the most technical futsal players that we have. So 11v11 is actually going to be really new to them. And they had their sort of first exposure to it in February this year. And now it's a case of, I think a few months later, they're playing international level games. But technically, they are very good players. So they'll be absolutely fine. But uniting the different backgrounds as one nation is a challenge, especially when you think of like staff-wise as well. Myself and Justin are on the staff coming from the UK, but we've also got Matt and Dean who are American from different states. We've got Tony, who is the men's futsal coach for the Marshall Islands, but is from Solomon Islands, but lives in Majuro. So it's a real mix of cultures. And I think that's going to be exciting in the sense of seeing how it all comes together. I think the first day or so of training, it's just going to be, a real eye-opener in the sense of this is happening. This is unbelievable.
Well, yeah. And the fact that it is this melting pot of Majuro and Kwajalein and Solomons and U.S. territorial and Europe and everything coming together. I mean, it is. I can't think of a better example of what the sport can do and what the sport means to those who are a participant in it, because you're bringing all these cultures together. You're bringing all of these folks together geographically. You're bringing all these different viewpoints together, and you're putting it under one umbrella. I can't think of a better personalization for what the sport can do and what the sport can be with what you and Matt and Justin and everybody have been piecing together.
Yeah, I think it's crazy, really. Like all these different. I think a minute ago I just said about piecing the jigsaw together. It really is. It's just so many different factors. And it's going to be interesting. I think Matt last night, the coach Matt, said, I'm really excited, nervous, and terrified about what the level is going to be like. But on the flip side, we've got strong players. So we've got Pat, who's coming from, we're not announcing the squad just yet, but...
Oh, come on!
Yes, this week, I think.
Okay.
It is this week, I think. But yeah, one of the guys, Pat, he's played in the futsal tournament last year. And he is American, but he's lived in the Marshall Islands for 20 years. And he's an older head in the group. But the thing is, he played college soccer back in the day and in the US. And he's just a steady head. And I think for us to get him involved, it was more not just being the player, but also just helping these guys that it's going to be a big challenge to, because he knows what it's like to be in the Marshall Islands. But also at the same time, he understands that cultural side of it. He can relate in that sense, and hopefully take a few of the younger guys under his wing. Because then on the flip side, you've got one of the other players who's only 16. He lives in the US, plays as a senior in high school, but he's unbelievable as a talent. So it's a real mix, and I think that's the exciting part. It could go any way, but we're excited what it does go. What direction it does go in.
So, do you have all of the necessary equipment? Is that going to Arkansas? Is there going to be? I just have this vision of like the movie The Longest Yard, when all the guys are in the locker room, and then you have the cardboard boxes, and they open the cardboard boxes up, and it's the Mean Machine jerseys going on. I mean, are you going to have that moment? I mean, are you going to have that kind of a presentation for everybody?
Honestly, we're making it as professional as possible. Like we are. The reason we went with this approach and playing against FIFA nations was because
Yeah.
we wanted to test ourselves.
You're there. Oh, somebody called him. Somebody called Lloyd. Somebody called Lloyd to break everything down. So, someone who's in charge of the jerseys decided that no, we're gonna have a discussion about this kind of thing. Lloyd Owers, the head coach and technical director of the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, is hanging out with us this morning. We're going to catch up with him. We got halftime, but no, it's been fun to see where the project has been going. And okay, and all right. So Lloyd, turn your phone sideways.
Oh
That
yeah, my laptop has not even died on battery; it's just given up.
but no,
I think it's a sign. Don't do any more interviews.
no, it's a sign do more to make sure that everything is charged. But no,
I know. Well, all that.
uh,
But yeah, sorry. But I think we were up to
we're talking about basically the
the
idea,
unveiling.
the,
Yeah,
the unveiling of everything to make it's real in a bunch of different ways, and
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
to have that jersey come out and present it to each player that's going to be a part of this. I mean, it hits home in that way when you get to have that moment with that individual.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I was on the roll of saying about, yeah, we chose to play these nations because we wanted to test ourselves against FIFA nations and be as professional as we can. And obviously, we have massive ambitions to progress as much as possible. So we want it to be as professional as possible. We want, everything's going to be laid out and everything's done for the players. They don't really have to do anything. But at the same time, before that first game, yeah, there'll be the opportunity to have something presented to them and make it special because they're not just playing for the country, they're also playing for the country for the first time, but the first ever people to do it.
Yeah.
So that's even more special for those guys. But yeah, we'll make it special for them. But in terms of on the game day, no, it's not going to be out of a box and film for it for that reason. It's going to be we turn up at the game day and we go in there with the best intentions.
When it comes to, I mean, we're talking about planning, and you mentioned all the little things. How much of a an experience has it been for you and for not Coach Matt and for Coach Justin about all of the little things that have to come together? You mentioned all the things that are kind of taken for granted when it comes to planning everything on a game day and for a tournament and
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
But then what about for all of the other aspects of, oh, yeah, we've got to do this off the field and this off the field and this off the field and be sanctioned and be accredited, all these kinds of things. How much of an experience has it been for you guys in a front office sense to get to this point?
Yeah, I think I suppose the good thing about not being a confederation member is remember you're not restricted to when you can play. You're not constricted to who you can play. You're not restricted to anything really in the sense of we have freedom to play who we want, when we want, where we want. But at the same time, it's always in the background. Our application memberships to be members of for confederations, they're still pending. They're still ongoing. We know that we need more presence in terms of 11v11. We know that we need more development on that front. So we're hoping that the games can propel the project into a position where confederations are almost looking at it thinking, well, we can't ignore it anymore because our full focus at the moment is on the game. So we wanted to make it as big as we can and as great as we can. And subconsciously, yeah, we're hoping that because we're putting so much effort into it, it has a bigger effect away from that and does have like the soccer politics side of it as an aspect where hopefully AFC or OFC or even CONCACAF can look at it and go like, these guys are doing something great. Let's welcome them in.
Hey, I mean, look, you in Greenland and CONCACAF, that'd be a hoot, man.
Honestly, well, to be honest, we did apply for CONCACAF purely because even though you look at it geographically, you think they're far out.
Well, but
But on the flip side, obviously we've got the opportunity to play some games in Arkansas because there's such a community there. We have good ties with the US anyway, from a nation standpoint, governmentally, logistically as well. You think the direct flights into Honolulu and then into anywhere in the US from there. You can almost go the other way as well and go to Guam and then into the US. So there are options logistically as well, but we're also building good connections with CONCACAF nations, and obviously with Turks and Caicos, US Virgin Islands. Um, Hopefully these little pieces start to help as well in some way. And I know that Greenland obviously rejected recently, but I think that's down to more than just soccer.
Yeah.
I think that was down to other reasons. We don't really have that, so we'll see where it goes, I guess.
So, all right, yeah, now that you've opened this door when it comes to soccer politics, no, but I mean, I legitimately, it didn't trigger to me until you were talking about it, about the CONCACAF application process or anything like that. But because of
Yeah.
the ties and because of the fabric that's there here in the continental United States, that makes a
Yep.
lot of sense. Where is the soccer politic timeline? I mean, where are you guys in conversations and things like that? Because now you have probably the world intrigued. Hey, they're getting ready for their first 11v11. Okay, now what's next? And so where is the
Yeah.
soccer politic discussion?
To be honest, it all halted really. We applied for AFC, OFC, and CONCACAF just to keep options open.
Mhm.
AFC and CONCACAF acknowledged it. OFC didn't. Um, they did via a journalist in New Zealand, but they didn't directly to us, which is strange.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then from that point onwards, it's just halted a little bit because we know that based on guidelines for membership, we meet a lot of criteria, probably more than definitely more than what we expected we would at this stage. So we found it a bit frustrating that it did stop a little bit and have a bit of a break from discussions. But that's what I mean in the sense of these games. We're just hoping that this reignites the interest again and hopefully puts on the page where confederations can't ignore it anymore.
What do you need from us, from the soccer community
Oh.
that is watching and partaking in all of this and following this journey with you? What do you need?
Just continue to share the word, continue to raise awareness around it. The whole reason we put out the second crowdfunder is Kickstarter is just because obviously it is no sponsorship, no funding going in towards it yet. Sorry, in terms of investment or anything like that. Any donation is welcome because obviously it does go towards accommodation. It does go towards transport and for the fixtures and stuff like that. Little things that we obviously take for granted, but when you look at it in terms of what it does cost, we've got to raise it back somehow. So any donation is welcome, but even if it's not a donation, just continue to spread the word and share the social media messages and just continue to raise awareness to it. And then in terms of the games themselves, tune in on the 14th and the 16th for our fixtures, but the games will be all week. I think the other two nations play each other on the 13th. We play 14th and 16th, and then there is a local pro team, Ozark United, who are making up the fixtures as well, who are playing against the other two countries. We're not playing them, but the other two countries will.
All right. So what are the next markers between now and probably we're probably talking in like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
So what are the next markers? What else needs to be hit between now and the time that you're getting closer and closer to either leaving or when we catch up with you in Arkansas before the tournament? What are the next markers that you have to hit?
Um, just the boring stuff, confirming logistics. But the exciting stuff, like we've got a team of analysts who are working really, really collectively, like amazing work as well. Like the lead analyst, Mike, we've worked together previously, but then we also have Ross, who is in Scotland, and we have Ronan, who is American, but the three of them are just unbelievable in the sense of the footage they are finding and the clips they are collating and the information around both USVI and Turks and Caicos to feed back to myself is unbelievable. So tying in like the technical side, how we approach the games, how we're going to structure our sessions, and then the fun stuff begins when we get out there.
All right, so you're going to play a 5-4-1. You're going to 4-4-2. What are you doing? 4-4-2 diamond.
We'll just go 10 defenders and hope the best.
You know that you and front office Matt and Justin, you know where the key is under the mat. You know that you have the garage door opener. You know you can crash into this house at any time to update folks on anything and everything involving the project as you get closer and closer to Arkansas. Do not be a stranger under any circumstance.
No, appreciate it as well. And obviously, you've got to get down to Arkansas for the games, surely.
Yeah, at the very least, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what my American football schedule is. At the very least, I'm parachuting in on Saturday for championships. That much, I've talked to the boss, and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's that." So I've still got to figure out my American football commitments for television. And at the very, very least, my plan is to come parachuting in on Saturday for the championships, buy all the gear, pack it and ship it back home, and then just have it completely and totally blown out. Do not be a stranger. We're going to catch up with you once again, at least before everything kicks off in Arkansas. Great to see you, as always. Great to catch up.
As always, yeah, appreciate it.
Glad you got to do the thing on Sky. That was pretty huge.
Yeah, we weren't so I say we weren't expecting it. We weren't expecting to be live. So myself and Matt, I know you're trying to wrap me up, but at the same time,
it's good, man.
On a Monday morning, we were told 7:15 a.m. log on. We'll keep you in the background. About 7:25, we'll let you in. 7:30, we'll begin rolling the cameras. Thinking it was all pre-recorded, which was actually it was going to be pre-recorded.
Okay.
So we get let in at 7:40 in the end, like really late. I was messaging Matt going, I'm just going to walk the dogs now. Like, I'm not waiting anymore. And then as I went to like sign off the camera, he let us in. So I waited, and he said, right, okay, so 5 minutes, you'll be on live on camera. I was like, what? So like, yeah, it's crazy. So like 7:45, logging into live on Sky Sports News, and so many people watch it. It's crazy. So yeah, it was a good thing. It was probably early on a Monday morning, just to sort of make sure you didn't have time to overthink it.
Yes, absolutely true. And the interview is out there on social media for folks to go watch. It's on the YouTubes and places like that. I couldn't let that pass either. Like I said, go charge your computer, because God knows how many more of these you got to do today. Go charge your phone. Oh, okay. So go charge your phone to make sure that you can have conversations, and can't wait to catch up with you once again before you guys come here to Arkansas. Lloyd, it's always a pleasure. Don't be a stranger.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. There goes Coach. I can say Coach now. He's the head coach, technical director, all the things. That business card of Lloyd's, I swear, it's going to be like double-sided now. It's like head coach, technical director, Grand Exalted Poobah, driver, transportation coordinator, all the things. But no, it's great to catch up with them. And so our plan, at least my plan, when it comes to Lloyd and the Outrigger Challenge Cup, like I said, I don't know what my high school football commitments are yet. So it looks like it might be that week. The boss is trying to squeeze in one more vacation time before football season starts. So it looks like she might be heading to see some friends of ours in North Carolina before I do. That week of the 11th, it might be where after Monday, I go out to North Carolina and spend like Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then come back Wednesday because of high school football commitments, Thursday, Friday here, then fly out Saturday morning to go see the championships in the Challenge Cup in Arkansas, and then turn around and come back because we have Crown Legacy. Yeah, so here, let me show you. All right, so August, so August is here. All right, so this is August at the moment. So let me put it at an angle so it doesn't like completely reflect. All right, so this is the week of the Outrigger Challenge Cup. And so obviously it's stuff with Georgia Public. And so it looks like maybe in here the show's on the road. Then I come back. Then I've got maybe the high school football commitments here. Then go out to Arkansas for the Outrigger Challenge Cup. Then come back Sunday morning because Crown Legacy and the Twos are playing Sunday night up at the Fraction for the first home match in God knows how long. Actually, it's not bad. But we talked about the schedule for July and the Twos and all the gap space and everything like that. But no, it's always great to catch up with Lloyd. and find out what's going on with the Marshall Islands. Abby would have driven. Wow, that's brave. She's got a family event in Florida. But, I mean, look, if you're anywhere close, go. It is rare to see history made and to be a part of something. We were a part of it, in history in an on-air perspective with Maddie over the weekend. And it was a cool thing because history only happens once. Different versions of history happen different times. But for everything that Lloyd and Matt and Justin and now their coaching staff, which has been announced on their social media platforms, everyone that is investing their time and investing their love of the sport into this process, that's what you're seeing here. And if you are within earshot, I mean, if you can make it, go. Especially for the championship game on Saturday. Championship games on Saturday for the Outrigger Challenge Cup in Arkansas, go. That's all I can say. Go. Because you don't get the chance to see history happen a second time. First ever 11v11 tournament for the Marshall Islands. And my God, they're going to send me to the poorhouse. But it's a good sending me to the poorhouse considering what they're doing, what they've been building, and to get to this point. All of that. Like I said, this is me cutting a promo because of a history-making event that we have followed since the beginning of this whole process to get to this point. And the fact that Lloyd said that they've applied for 3 separate federations and applying for CONCACAF, and until he mentioned it, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes too much sense because of the connections that they have up there in the Four Corners with Arkansas and Oklahoma and Missouri and Texas. It makes too much sense. It literally makes too much sense. So I would sit there and, look, if anybody knows Victor Montagliani, I'll say it right now. Look, they need to be put in. Put them in. Let them build. Put them in Group D. Put them in Group D where they're going after the well, actually, tell you what. Let's look at the last CONCACAF competition. Let's look at CONCACAF Nations League while we're thinking about it. So, last Nations League, you got the Gold Cup schedule and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so Nations League. Matches in the Nations League. So, let's go into the qualifiers. So, CONCACAF qualifiers, club competitions. I don't want club competitions. I want Nations League. I think I want Nations League anyway, but that's like the group stage of, well, okay, so let's do CONCACAF qualifiers. Let's do that. So if we do like CONCACAF qualifiers, let's do that. The round of 20, the round that happened in March, you're looking at Anguilla, Turks and Caicos, British Virgin Islands. That's the kind of stuff that you're staring at here. That's what you're looking at when it comes to all the qualifiers. Suriname, you're looking at Barbados, Curacao, or Concordia University of Wisconsin, Guatemala, Montserrat. Literally, if you put them in the CONCACAF qualifiers, it makes entirely too much sense. It's a hell of a financial cost that you've got to do working forward. But just think about CONCACAF makes entirely too much sense for them because of where their history is placed and because of where their people are. While yes, you would be bringing folks from Majuro and Kwajalein, the 2 main islands there in the Pacific Ocean, because of what you have going on in Arkansas, it makes entirely too much sense. Until Lloyd said that didn't trigger for me. So Kickstarter project. Let me go and see. Hang on. Let me see where they are with the Kickstarter project. As you hear me typing, which I know is just fantastic radio and television, but with the fascination getting the best of me here. So the Marshall Islands made their 20,000. It was 21,500. So you can get a virtual ticket for 10. I think those were all gone. So updates. Hang on. So I know there were updates. July 2nd. And so July 2nd, they had an update where they're trying to raise an extra 80. Kickstarter allowed them to book flights for players and staff, which totals around 25,000 pounds. And so on the 13th, it's the Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos. The 14th is their first ever match. Thursday, the 14th, Marshall Islands and U.S. Virgin Islands. Ozark U19s, Turks and Caicos. Then nothing on Friday. Saturday, it's the Marshall Islands, Turks and Caicos, Ozark United, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. All of them are being played at Springdale High School at Bulldog Stadium. So right now, the second Kickstarter is for an extra 80. So they can cover all the other aspects of the event. 25,000 is getting everybody there. They got that. So now 80,000 on the board is where they're going next. And I know that's a lot. So once again, Kickstarter campaign, and you can find out more. You just go Kickstarter Marshall Islands and you get to find out more about what's going on. So yeah, made entirely too much sense to apply for CONCACAF. Holy crap. So 3 separate confederations they've applied to. And now we're to this next stage. You're a month away from history in Springdale, Arkansas. We can't wait. Like I said, my bare minimum will be to fly out Saturday and come back Saturday night or come back Sunday morning because of Crown Legacy and the twos. So that's where we are. That's where we are with that. All right. Hour number 2. And thank you for hearing me out on that. But hour number 2, time to catch up on Major League Soccer from the weekend. We'll go through all the matchups. We'll go through where we are, go through where things stand, and get you squared away. Anticipating Jess Charman joining us at some point here in the hour to break it all down from her perspective and let you know what's the latest on anything and everything involving Major League Soccer. All right, so we'll go through juice boxes and let you know what happened this past weekend and all of the different events and things that are laid out. So in Major League Soccer, as I sit here, it's like nothing is how you save it. That's all I'm saying. And we'll go through the current juice boxes that are laid out for the midweek as well. So on Saturday and Sunday, working our way kind of backward, St. Louis City beat Portland 2-1 at a plus 108. That was Sunday night soccer. Saturday, Toronto and Atlanta United, they were the first one on the board. That was a plus 258 for a 90-minute draw. Philadelphia took care of Red Bulls 2-0. Philadelphia's a minus 110. They got the Duke. Probably one of the stunners of the weekend, Orlando City and CF Montreal. Purple team drew at a plus 397. CF Montreal looks like it's going to be $1 million or £1 million to send George Campbell to West Brom from CF Montreal. Crew and Cincinnati and Hell is Real. Crew took care of business at a plus 177. We looked at Crew, remember, and we talked to Nico Moreno last week, and we went through some of the juice boxes. We saw Crew as an underdog in Hell is Real, and we were like, ooh, let's jump on that. Crew 4-2 win over FC Cincinnati at a plus 177. Charlotte shut out NYC at a plus 121, 2-0. Messi and friends with yet another brace by some dude named Messi. Beat Nashville 2-1 at a minus 106. Seattle and Sporting had their own round of chaos. Seattle was favored at a minus 105. Got the win 3-2. Minnesota put 4 on San Jose. And I think that this is the San Jose team that we anticipated seeing. Minnesota at a minus 114 got the win, putting 4 on the board. San Jose, you don't know. I think we anticipated the chaos of San Jose. You're either going to win big or you're going to lose big. This time out, you lose big on the road in Minnesota. Minnesota having everybody back from international duty. That's where we are. San Diego 2-1 winners over Chicago Fire. We'll get more into that one. San Diego, a slight dog on the road at Chicago. And they get the win at a plus 152, 2-1. Austin and New England, goalless draw at a plus 229. I think that until further notice or until we get into the window, this is probably what you're going to be seeing from Austin going forward. Not a lot of goals. It's going to be reinforced. Not a lot of goals and having to win with Brad Stuver and defense. Brandon Vasquez gone for the year. RSL 1-0 winner over Houston Dynamo at home at a minus 109. Colorado, this was probably another one of the big surprises from the weekend. Colorado shuts out Vancouver 3-0 at a plus 150. Vancouver on the road might be drifting back to the mean a little bit. Galaxy over DC United 2-1. So Galaxy gets another win on the board. They were a big favorite at a minus 161. Understandable with the dismissal of Troy Lesesne. DC interim coach bounce or anything like that? Nope. Plus 411 didn't happen. And then LAFC, big favorite at home. No surprise that they won at a minus 270, 2-0 over Dallas. And we talked about all caps at a plus 108 over Portland by the score of 2-1. So that sets up where things are in the standings in Major League Soccer. And you look at the Eastern Conference. Right now, everybody's at 21, 22 matches except for Messi and friends. Because obviously, they've been kind of busy. Philadelphia on top, 43 points. And this is where you're kind of getting your groups and your separation right now anyway. 22 matches, 12 to go. Philadelphia at 43 points. Cincinnati at 42. Nashville at 41. One more win than Columbus. They also have a superior goal difference if it comes down to that at some point. So 43, 42, 41, 41. That's your top four. But the conjunction he has in his sentence. Miami at 38 points with 3 matches in hand. They win those 3, they're top in the East all over again with the cushion. So Group 2 starts technically with Miami. They might be the one rider in the first chase group. So they're at 38 points, but they've got 3 matches in hand on the folks above them. They get sick. They win 2 of them technically. Then they're, at the top of the table. Or a purple team, 22 matches, 35 points. They're kind of, floating in and around by themselves. Then you end up with the group that is trying to figure out where they're going to be in the playoffs. NYC at 31 with a match in hand. They're in 7th. Red Bulls at 30. Charlotte's at 29. And like I said, we'll go into early juice boxes after this. Chicago is 10th. Match in hand, 28 points. New England's at 25, 21 matches played. Atlanta, 19. Match in hand, same number of wins with DC United, far better goal difference. Toronto's at 18, Montreal's at 15 at 3-13 and 6. And so, what we do when we're discussing Major League Soccer, we bring in one of our Major League Soccer gurus and geniuses, and this is where Jess Charman comes in. Ooh, I like the avatar. Nicely done.
I learned a lesson. You called me out on it last time. So I thought, hey, let me get a little avatar. I look like I mean business, right? That's like a good little serious face.
Well, yeah, you've got the DAZN mic flag and everything. You're about ready to cut your pregame hit that's going to go on tape, that's going to go out across the planet.
And they didn't make me stand on a box next to Danny Higginbottom. It was really close. They were like, oh, should we make her stand on a box? I was like, do I have to? I'm not that, I'm worried I might fall off. I'm a very movable person when I do these hits. So I was glad they said, you know what? You guys aren't too different in size. You can just stand up.
And so, I mean, I want to go back now that we have a little bit more time to breathe. And I do want to talk to you about Reading before you go.
Okay.
And a couple of other things, just random stuff in addition to the actual topics that we brought you in here to talk about. Has the Club World Cup experience sunk in for you yet?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't think I've had time to let it sink in because the minute I got back, it was straight back into Major League Soccer, and that's still pinching me. Like, it's unbelievable seeing my name on those MLS on air call sheets. Like, I've worked my butt off for 10 plus years. It's funny this weekend, or I say weekend, this weekday is going to be such a full circle moment because it just reminds me of. Do you remember we called a game on my birthday, Atlanta United 2, my first professional game, and it was my birthday, and it's just so surreal now to see the development and the hard work come to fruition. And the pathway's definitely not been linear. I've dipped in a lot of piles. I've done different jobs. I've fallen out of sports. I stopped for a little bit. I came back. So it's like when I look at that linear, like that roller coaster of a journey, then it is a pinch me moment. But I also think I go to England the day after the game. I go to England on Thursday. And I think that's when it's going to kind of be like a deep breath of fresh air. I'm going to be back in the house that I grew up in the room I watched Match of the Day in growing up. And there's going to be this moment of like, wow, Jess, like you've worked your butt off. You've reaped the rewards, but it's also about never settling and getting complacent. I want more, but I always want more. I think that's so important to never settle if you're not pushing and wanting more. But at the same time, I also just need to take that deep breath of gratitude and be proud of myself at the end of the day. Like, you know me all too well. I'm a nitpicker with everything I do, and I go back and listen to every goal
Welcome
call
to
and
the
every
business. Yeah.
moment, and it's like, oh, I should have paused for half a second more, or oh, I sort of mispronounced his name a little bit. And I just think I need to take that deep breath and just be like, Jess, when you compare yourself to the girl that started climbing ladders at Clayton State and calling matches at 19 years old, you've come so well, and that kid would be so proud. And there's not many female commentators, obviously play by play. There's not many female commentators that do men's football. So to add another person that people can look up to is a really awesome thing. And that gives me an opportunity to obviously shout out Madison Cruz as well, who is making waves. So if I can have helped Madison in any shape or way, like
No, you did.
I'm not taking any responsibility at all for what she's doing. She's amazing. But for her, how lovely it is that there were people before her to look up to. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
makes me very proud.
Did the result in the Club World Cup surprise you?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I think it surprised everybody. Um, PSG were, I thought, invincible in the tournament. So to see it go that way with that disparity was incredible. I'm happy for Chelsea. I think that they played well. It was a good performance. They've got some elite players on that team. Watching Reece James lift the trophy was amazing. The viral moment of Reece James and Cole Palmer taking a look at Donald Trump and wondering what he was doing in the picture. Uh, Worth $1 million of entertainment. I won't say anything more. You can read into that what you like
The
about that
John
moment.
Terry moment.
It's
Exactly.
it's the gift. It's the gift that keeps on giving on social media. I always say that. But yeah, I mean, I think it was what the Club World Cup needed, though. What a great way to keep all eyes on the screen by giving everybody this like wow moment. I think it just continued to add to the entertainment value of a tournament that obviously has haters, obviously has people say, oh, you couldn't pay me enough to play in this tournament. You could pay you enough to play in this tournament. You wish you were playing in this tournament for $100 million. Let's be realistic here. But I just think, yeah, what a tournament it was. And I was just delighted to be a very, very small part of it.
And since that tournament ended, you've been bouncing back and forth. You were there for the group stage in Club World Cup. You get to watch the rest of Club World Cup, and then you drift back into Major League Soccer. And on the weekend, it was San Diego and Chicago. We just went through the results from this past weekend as kind of a lead in to you.
Mhm.
And San Diego, slight favorite going into Chicago. San Diego, I know Mikey Veras, a lot of circles looking like Coach of the Year candidate, at least the top three, if not the number one. What were your takeaways from San Diego and Chicago on the weekend?
That Chicago just want to play away from home, it feels like. I mean, 2
Mhm.
wins for Chicago in Soldier Field. They play better on the road. Atlanta United need to be aware of that. That San Diego didn't put this game to bed, which was a bit of a surprise considering how good they are in front of goal, the most goals scored in MLS, which is amazing. I think that Anders Dreyer is an absolutely incredible player. Watching him was really, really exciting. But in the same vein, so is Philip Zinkernagel for Chicago. I mean, it was an exciting match, end-to-end stuff. Really, really cool to see Pablo Cisniega start for San Diego in his first MLS match for San Diego FC. Obviously, got to know him a bit during his time at Charlotte FC, and he was always stuck behind Christian Kalina, obviously the starting goalkeeper for Charlotte and last year's goalkeeper of the year for Major League Soccer. So that was like a special connection to know about his story, his journey, even be able to reference the time where he saved a penalty against Chelsea in the friendly with Charlotte FC. So those moments always make you feel super smart as a commentator when you have personal connections with the team. I just think San Diego are really exciting now. Do they play risky out the back? Absolutely. So does Chicago, though. I mean, look, I understand modern football, but it is so hard as a commentator in modern football. Because, like, I understand everyone wants to tell a commentator, only tell your stories during the middle third. But the ball barely spends any time in the middle third these days because it's all along the back. And then there's a turnover, and all of a sudden, Gutierrez is having a strike, and you have to switch your voice. It is a really hard job. So, yeah, I think that they play out the back all too much. Both these teams are a little bit too risky at times. They're going to have to figure out the balance of that for me because I'm not stupid. I understand the benefits of playing out through the back and finding the space and luring in the press. But come on, like some of these pie moments are wild.
And Chicago coming to Atlanta here in the midweek, and it's a chance to revisit with an old friend in Andrew Gutman. And
I love him. Oh, he's so good though still. He is so good still.
Underrated or underappreciated. I'm trying to figure out the right word. It's just maybe because it's in Chicago and he plays on the back line, but you don't hear a whole lot of folks mention the season that Andrew Gutman has been having.
Yeah, but it's been like a comeback season for him because if you look at his numbers from last season, he barely featured. He wasn't important. And now he's an odds on starter. And watching his runs, I mean, he is so dynamic in the way he gets forward. And then he loves to invert. Now it was so interesting watching him connect on the left hand side and then find himself inside the 18-yard box. He had two opportunities where if his first touch had been better in San Diego, he would have been through 1v1, but he had too heavy of a defender's touch, we should say. I mean, defenders these days have as good of a touch as anybody, but it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, that's what I didn't say it. I didn't fall into the trap. But in my head, I was like, oh, that's why he's a defender when it came off his shin as he was going into the 18-yard box. But he's a tough as nails guy. And look, I never got to know him personally because it was past my time with Atlanta United when he was playing there. But he just seems like a good human being that's always going to give his all for the team that he's playing for. And I think it's really cool his story of finding his way back to Chicago, where he came up through the academy. And now he's just doing a really good job, solid on that left hand side. But I think with Chicago, the main reason why you're not hearing that much about him is because they haven't been great defensively as a whole. They don't keep clean sheets, barely at all. They concede goals regularly. But as we know, it's a team game. And as someone that comes from a goalkeeping perspective, it's a cliche, but it has to get through all 11 players before it finds the back of the net. And a lot of the times, you're not going to be defender of the year if your team has one of the worst defensive records in the year, even if you've been a really good defender. So um, that's coming from somebody that never got goalkeeper of the year, even though they had plenty of saves, you know?
Yes. Jessica Charman hanging out with us, transitioning from and yo-yoing at points from the Zone to the Zone UK to MLS and getting cups of coffee with Apple, which is always very cool. And with Major League Soccer in the midweek, we're talking about Major League Soccer in the midweek, quickly trying to go over what happened on the weekend and getting ready for the midweek and having people set their fantasy teams because it's a double match week. So you can win those kinds of things. To this point of the season, we're past the halfway point of the year. Good, the bad, and the ugly in Major League Soccer for you. Who, outside of San Diego that we've talked about as a surprise, who else would classify in your good or surprise category on the good side for MLS so far
Oh,
this season?
that's a great question.
The good, the
I
bad,
actually,
good, the
okay,
bad.
I'm going with the present, but Chicago have really impressed me going forward. If they could get the complete performance, then they would be. I mean, you look at Chicago; they finished bottom last season, right? They've already scored more goals than they scored in the entirety of last season. If they get a point, I think it is this weekend, they'll surpass their points total of last season. Like, it's crazy how Greg Berhalter has come in and changed it. Does the team still need work? Absolutely. But it is really exciting to see how much they've come on, and players like Zinkernagel, Kuipers just being really exciting in the attack. And this is coming from very centralized bias of obviously having only just called them. But I really like what they're doing. The ugly, Patrick Agyemang's haters. I mean, reading social media during Gold Cup was really miserable, considering that I've had a really good chance to get to know Patrick when I was the analyst over at Charlotte. Good human being, humble human being. First to admit that he's still raw in certain moments, doesn't necessarily have the best touch, these things. But at the end of the day, he's a guy that played Division 3 soccer that's now playing for the US men's national team. And if that doesn't tell you you can do anything if you work hard enough, I don't know what does. So I think that Pat deserves more love, and I'm really excited to see what he can do once that finally gets announced, because I actually think he'll adjust to the championship pretty well, and I think that he could be a really good forward. Do I think it's a lot of money? Absolutely. Do I think well done Charlotte for the business that they've been able to do? Absolutely. And then I guess the bad, I feel like I'm excited. I feel like Atlanta United is maybe making some baby steps to come away from the bad. The 2 draws in a row, better performances. DC was a terrible match, one of the worst matches I've ever had the privilege of going back to watch. Like, did I really have to watch that one? I did watch it on 3x to try and get through the game, knowing it was a 0-0. Probably a good. If I could have watched it in 10x, I might have been in a better form. But the Toronto game was a little better, baby steps. So I'm hoping that Atlanta United's about to come out of the bad, because I uh, latte lat, man. Like, how did that penalty go in? I still don't know. I was chatting with Jason before I came on, because obviously Jason is an encyclopedia on Atlanta United, and if you're calling an Atlanta United game, you want to chat with Jason Longshore. And I just asked, I was like, I have watched that penalty like 6 times, and I still can't understand how Johnson got that touch on it and it ended up where it did in the goal. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, I'm trying to figure out how it went off his arm and then ended up in that direction. But sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Sometimes you need a little bit of good fortune. And from my perspective, calling a game where I want an opportunity to call goals and I want an opportunity to feel the environment in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, if Latte Lat can use that moment to build confidence and think, well, F it, there's some good fortune coming my way, maybe that bad turns into good and he can live up to the price tag, because 22 million, the reported transfer fee, needs more than 6 goals, and 6 goals in the ways that he scored them.
And 1 goal in the last 3 months, obviously, is part of all of that. Now, the only thing I can figure with the PK is that with Sean, the pride of Brookwood High School, going to his right, expanding his left arm, and that left
But
hand.
his arm was vertical. It wasn't wide. His arm was more like vertical.
And so if the arm, the only thing I can think of is that momentum carrying him to the right, ball is going to his left.
Yeah.
And so it goes off of his hand, and because of the momentum that the ball is carrying, the ball is spinning to the near post. So it goes off of his hand as his motion is carrying him opposite. So it has to do with spin coming off of the ball and Latte Lat, and then off of Sean's hand. So it
and I also think
spins.
Latte Lat luckily hit it with absolute venom. I mean, he smashed the ball. If he hits that softer, then it stays out the net. So I'll give him credit for that. I will give him some credit. But man, I'm excited for this game, John. I'm so excited. It's like I said, this is when you said has it sunk in. I think this is going to be the game again where it was always special coming back for Charlotte and getting 2 times to call the Charlotte FC radio gig. But obviously I was an analyst, and now getting to do play-by-play and tell the story of Atlanta United, and knowing that kids I coach are going to be listening, people that interacted with me while I was at Soccer in the Streets are going to be listening, people that have seen me play soccer tennis with a bottle of champagne in my hand are probably going to be watching. I mean, I've done it all in this community. Atlanta is where I was made. I mean, obviously I don't sound that way, but I've been here since I was an 18-year-old kid, So yeah, it's another one of those days where I'm just like, this is my life. This is insane. And I'm so blessed and so excited.
All right. So the full sheet is not out, but we've kind of buried the lead. Who's calling it with you, by the way?
Actually, this is what's really cool too. I'm calling it with former US Women's National Team player Casey White. So this is going to be very unique. Casey, it's only her second game doing Apple TV. I've had the pleasure of calling a couple of USL Super League games with her. So we have good chemistry and she's fantastic. She has her UEFA A license, I believe it is. So like knows coaching, the way that she calls a game. I think it's going to be interesting. If you like, I know, listen, I'm not going to tell anybody to not sync with Mike and Jason. Like, I get it. I'm not a home. I can't be a home. I'm the neutral here. So I'm not telling people don't do it. If they want to do a half of each, that would be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But if you
Fire up
enjoy,
multiple devices.
yeah, but can you imagine me and Mike talking over the top of each other? It'd be like verbal diarrhea of the two of us. I love me and Mike, but gosh.
Just have one device paired with you and Casey on Apple TV. The other device paired with Mike and Jason, and then
And
the
then
third
just pause in the two.
Yeah, just in the TV's running, and so that way, it's like dealing with IFB or headsets, where it's like you're getting action.
Feedback. Producer, 10, 9,
Yeah,
8,
exactly.
7, 5
Yeah.
till wrap. Go to RBC Wealth Management. Home
Yes.
Depot benches are income. Guys,
Yes.
there are 40 reads in an Apple TV broadcast, just so you know. If you can handle an Apple TV broadcast, you can handle everything. That is what I have learned. Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. This broadcast of MLS on Apple TV is presented by T-Mobile. There we see, like they're on the top of my head. Like I know them now, but it's crazy.
Oh, good.
It's all
all right.
But yeah, Casey's amazing. If you enjoy Jason Longshaw's style of color analysis, you're going to really enjoy Casey as well because she is so educated with her coaching background, with her playing background, that she is unbelievably articulate and sees the game in a really special way. And so I'm thrilled to be working with someone that knows the sport so well and can get into the weeds of the game. So yeah, it's going to be a good call. I hope people will listen to some of it. And
well, and there's always the replay too for either or both. I know that you've got to go be a mom and get studied and everything, and don't forget you have stuff of mine and I have stuff of yours that we have to go see each other tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz, and we have to have the experience.
Yes, and I will come and visit because I also want to go to the amazing buffet that they have at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Shout out to the catering staff. It's amazing.
Yes. So we have to have our gift exchange. Also, Reading, you've got a new owner. Congratulations.
Yes, and life is good for Reading FC. Rob Kuig came in, former Wickham owner. He was the devil for a while to Reading FC fans when they thought that one sec, baby. When I would look at a second, when they thought that he was going to buy our training ground, and now he's our owner and he saved us. There's an American link. I'm not taking credit, but I definitely raised the profile of Reading FC in America. Let's be honest. I talked about Reading FC on every podcast, every show, every radio station that I could get a drop in about Reading Football Club. We're able to sign players. Look, I'm super excited. And I'm timing my trip home. I go home on Thursday, and on Saturday, Reading FC play Tottenham Hotspur at select car leasing stadium. So I will be there in person. So I was worried when I booked. It was the only time I could book a trip home July because obviously my schedule is absolutely nuts once I get back in August. Goodness gracious, I don't know where I'm going to be coming, going, what games I'm going to be doing. Wowzers. But good problem to have. So this is my only time to go home. So I was like, oh no, I'm not going to get to see my team play. And then I see they scheduled a friendly against Tottenham Hotspur. So I was like, Dad, get the tickets. And so I'm going to get to go. So I'm super excited. Come on, you Royals. It's going to be exciting. And I'll take some pictures and come back and report how that goes.
Yes, go spend time with your family. Go spend time with the true boss there in the family. We'll catch up with you soon, Jess. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And I made it twice in a week. So you are so welcome. I didn't flake. Love you, John. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Love you, Jess. Bye. There goes Jess. So that's Jess Charman. And so, yeah, we kind of buried the lead. But, yeah, Jess and Casey White are calling the match in Atlanta tomorrow on Apple TV. The full sheet is not out for TV assignments. We don't know that yet. We don't know across the board. But we do know that Jess and Casey are calling the match for Apple TV tomorrow. So Jess gets a homecoming before she goes home, and she gets to go see Reading and Spurs on the weekend. So Jess is squeezing in a vacation, but she's going to call Atlanta United and Chicago Fire first tomorrow. Juice boxes on those, and we'll see how they change tomorrow as well. But once again, remember, tomorrow it is Tyler, 9:15, Dylan at 10, and we'll see if there's anything else going on at 10:30 that we need to know about heading into that. But once again, Will Pelagic joining us Thursday at 9:15. If you saw his Twitters as of about an hour ago, Don Garber scheduled to be in Charlotte tomorrow They're expected to award the 26th MLS All-Star Game to B of A and to Charlotte FC. So that's where we are with that. And so we bring Jared Smith in. It's a busy show. That's a good thing. We just had Jess on for about 20 minutes to talk about everything going on. And Jess is going to be calling Atlanta United and Chicago on Apple TV, Jared.
That's fun. Give her our best.
Absolutely. Yeah. She came on, talked about Club World Cup, talked about what she saw. She had Chicago and San Diego, or San Diego, as the kids say. She
Do
had
they?
as kind of a primer. Some of it, maybe it's the adults that say San Diego. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes. So she had Chicago and San Diego this past weekend from the spaceship. She got to see Chicago firsthand, where 3GB still has some defensive issues, but got our buddy Andrew Gutman at left back. They can score. They can also give up goals. And so the same with San Diego. And so, of course, you get a 2-1 game with San Diego getting the win.
Okay. I'll preface this by saying I loved Andrew Gutman. Still do.
Yes,
very
absolutely.
fun player. Very good guy. Defensive issues and Andrew Gutman kind of go hand in hand. He is an offensive left back.
Yes.
That's fine. Like you roll coverage to his side as he gets forward. His strength is being an offensive left back. His strength is not being that lockdown defensive left back who basically just washes away that side of the field. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. He's made a damn good career out of it. I also like to remind people of this whenever I see the stupid nostalgia posts and tweets about the people who were on the back line and gone and we could have the best back line with blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Gutman is an offensive monster. He is not a defensive left back. That's okay. So, yeah, when you say, like, they got defensive issues with Andrew Gutman at left back, I'm like, yes, correct. It's like saying you don't have cover when you have Julian Gressel on the field. Correct. You don't. Because he's the guy who gets forward. He's not a defensive player. But, hey, man, look, Chicago's fun. Greg Berhalter's doing a fine job for everyone who was mad. And, again, it should be studied in a lab. Like, the degree to which people made it personal with Greg Berhalter with the national team. It should be studied in a lab. But Greg Berhalter was a damn good club manager before he took the national team job. Nepotism being what it is with the national team and the illusion of nepotism. But he was a damn good club manager. And now it looks like he's a damn good club manager again. It would have been hilarious had he ended up in Atlanta. I don't know if he'd have gotten the same results for either club. Because, again, I feel like this roster in Atlanta has enough problems with it that you got to clean up a lot of it before you start discussing, like, whether or not a manager is, the number one problem or just one problem or whatever. But give credit to Chicago. They're fun. Also, I saw Don Garber is going to be at BOA. Is Tepper going to be throwing drinks at people?
Well, I mean, if he's throwing sweet tea at Don Garber for awarding the All-Star game to B of A, we'll find out.
Look, man, any day where David Tepper isn't throwing drinks at fans is an improvement. Yeah.
Do you think they have the sign at the B of A? Number of days that David Tepper hasn't thrown. No,
I don't think they need that. I think they're fine. I don't think they need the sign for it. I think it's a waste of perfectly good sweet tea. So there's that. You don't need to waste it.
I mean,
you just drink it.
I mean,
I don't know. Throw away something else like unsweet tea. Like, for a glass. You're going to throw a drink at somebody, get a drink of, like, unsweet tea.
Seriously.
Like, get something that nobody likes and throw that.
Yes.
So we're not missing out.
But for me, Tepper would be the kind of guy in Charlotte to throw cheer wine at people.
You don't want to waste cheer wine either.
But that's what I'm saying. He would be the kind of guy that would throw cheer wine at people. He wouldn't throw unsweet tea. He would be the kind of guy. Seems to me the kind of guy when he gets mad, he would throw cheer wine at somebody.
Y'all are also missing. I'm sorry I don't have the birds. You're also missing the sounds of the click clack of a giant mechanical keyboard. Just to make sure you're covering all your bases. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Those were better days. And yeah, I did trade off all that humidity, Alex. It's I don't know, it's still hot. Like it was like 96 yesterday, but it's also the kind of 96 that when you walk in the shade, feel 20-mile-an-hour winds and shade, you're like, this is fine.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yes.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
And to Anthony's point, I don't think Dial is the long-term answer in Atlanta, but I also don't think he's the most glaring issue at the moment. I agree. That's where I am as well. Like I don't know what the long-term prognosis is for Ronnie Dalla. But that roster has holes and mismatches on it that have to be addressed. You've addressed one of them so far with Edwin Mosquera getting the move he has apparently been like pushing for on social media for a minute and a half. And now he's back in South America. Great. And again, just a reminder to people, because everyone bitched about seeing the words loan and not sell. It's a loan with an option to buy. He's out of contract at the end of the year.
Yeah.
This is very much like the Santiago Sosa thing, where this is, again, one of the things, for there are many, that is going to piss me off about the discourse that happens here. Because watch this shit happen. Is he's out of contract at the end of the year. If he goes down there and balls out and they really, really want him, what you'll do is you'll pick up your option and you'll sell him and you'll get something for him. If he goes down there and doesn't do anything and they're like, nah, we're not doing this, then you just don't pick up the option and he walks. Either way, I don't see a world in which he's coming back here. You either pick up his option and make a little money off of him, or you let his option just ride and he walks away for nothing, which sucks, but also I think you're pretty much done there.
Yeah.
Now you got other moves to make.
Yeah.
Go ahead on.
No, I was going to say, I was going to list the decisions for Atlanta United this season. I think there are 15 contracts that end in the calendar year for Atlanta United. Just to get you warned on your cheat sheet. We'll talk Heinze and Thiago Almada after this. You've got the contracts that are in play at the end of this year, and they're confusing like market value and everything else. Okay, so this season, and apparently Brad has gone Batman or Lone Ranger mask, and it looks like he might play against Chicago. 25s. Brad Gazan, Mateus Click, Derek Williams, who's back at practice, Jamal, Luis Abram, Brooks Lennon, Togashi, Josh Cohen, Ronald Hernandez, Will Riley, Efren Morales, Matt Edwards, Jay Fortune, Aiden Torres, Jaden Hibbert.
All of the kids. Yes. Yes, all the kids. I mean, Efra has, in the last two games, I think, seen his star rise appropriately. And John, we've watched him with twos for long enough now to know what he's capable of.
Tony Annan said
Tony Annan wanted him to be a 6. Yeah. Tony Annan was convinced in the eyes of the Lord that Efra was a 6. And Efra, when he played as a 6 with the twos, the academy, has some damn good games. And he was like a house-wrecking, giant defensive midfielder that was really fun. But he goes back to center back, and look where he is, man.
Efra against Toronto. 90 minutes. 8 clearances. 8. One more than 7, not quite to 9. 8 clearances. 1 block. 2 picks. 7 of 10 on his aerial duels. 92 touches for Efren Morales, 67 of 76 passing, 88%, 1 key pass, 2 of 4 on his long balls, that's your stats against Toronto in microcosm.
This is a week after he pissed off Christian Benteke so much that Benteke started intentionally trying to target Luis Abram. Benteke got tired of either losing or having to contest every aerial duel against Ephra. Michael Head, everyone except the homegrown should go. Just about, I would make an argument based on the numbers. Okay, this is just based on the numbers we just saw a couple weeks ago from the MLSPA.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep Ronald because that number is low enough.
Yeah.
And I like Ronald as a clubhouse guy.
And he's a Swiss Army knife. Basically, hey, Ronald, I need you to do this. Okay.
Ronald, if Ronald is happy being your third choice outside back, playing on either side, helping the kids grow up and being a guy who will go out there and will bleed for the shirt and will actually looks like he gives a damn for 90 minutes at a low salary number and just as a depth piece, I'm fine with it, man. As long as that number doesn't get too high, I'm fine with Ronald saying. I would be fine keeping one of TRA or Togashi, not both necessarily, but TRA has always had injury issues, even though when he's healthy, a damn good MLS striker. I don't know what Togashi has to do to get on the field with the first team. I want to see him. At some point this year, I want to see what Cayman Togashi can do at MLS level. Mm-hmm. Because we have seen him play like a bat out of hell with the second team. I want to see if he can translate it over. Because then that makes it a tougher decision of, do I keep one of them at a low salary number?
Salary numbers, just so you have them.
Yeah.
Jamal is 700 base, 730 total. Togashi, 104 base, which I guess is the veteran men. And so Cayman is here on a veteran men deal at 104. Jamal's making 700 base, 730 total.
Yeah, man. So get me minutes with Cayman to see if he can be that dude. Or I can offload a 700 salary, then I'll do it. Not keeping Click here next year. And Click's had his moments this year. Don't get me wrong.
Well, but at the same time, I mean, you basically got Mateus Click for a packet of Zinger.
You did, and DC's paying his DP salary, and all that's great. You're still sitting bottom of the East right now, or third bottom of the East. And he hasn't been a DP midfielder for him.
Yeah. And like I said, for me, it was low risk. It was a low risk signing, considering it was a pack of Pall Malls.
Absolutely. I'm just not going to renew.
Yeah, a packet of Zingers and some big league chew. Bringing Mateus,
throw in a Tahitian treat, and we're good, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some diabetes.
Yes. Wilford Brimley would be happy with that. Sharif apparently is on the other side of the world watching this morning. Yes. So just to let everybody know, you mentioned Ronald's number. Ronald is 275 base, 297.50 total. And I know that Luis's number has been attached to a lot of folks. Base of 732, 275, and according to MLSPA, guaranteed comp just under 872.
Yeah, I have center backs who are showing promise. And look, we have been team play the kids for years. And especially right now, team play the kids, because if you told me I'm playing all these first team guys trying to drag our way back forward, and our first team guys were consistently, if they're losing like 1-0, 2-1 games because the offense isn't scoring enough, it's not.
Sidebar.
That's one thing. But you've been shipping 2, 3, 4 goals a game with all these guys. No, just play the kids, because if the first teamers are, if the guys who are supposed to be starting, minus Derek getting healthy and Stian, who, that right there is where my heart is at when it comes, John, to my buyout.
809.20 total.
I like Stian a lot. I think he's a very good center back. Availability is the best ability, though. and he has not been consistently available. He cannot stay healthy to save his life. God bless him. Super nice guy, very talented, has had some fantastic stretches, but he's going on, 2 months now?
Mm-hmm.
Out? Cannot stay on the field. That's where I'd be looking for one of my buyouts. Or if I can move him, great. If I can move him in the summer and somebody wants him, great. I'm bringing in another center back right now. I think Derek is in his swan song because I think Father Time has caught up with Derek, where he can do stuff at a pinch for you. But Emilio and I have talked about this, that in the box, I'm fine with Derek. Game gets stretched? Nope. Do not want all of the problems, man. And like I said, I think and Derek's had a damn good career in MLS. I think Father Time's catching up with the man. But at this point, at the weight you're giving up goals with your guys starting, man, throw Noah Cobb out there with Ephra and Matt Edwards out there right back. Like, I don't know what you do with I'll tell you right now, John, like, I'm given with the number that he's on and the changes you can make and free up, I don't know. I'm picking up Brooks Lennon's option. And I like Brooks. I like Brooks in general, but he hasn't really fit what I'm trying to do right now. Like, when I've been running out that 3 in the back look, Matt Edwards has been a better choice at that right center back. And then for a while there, it was almost impossible not to play Saba at that right wing back spot because of what he gave you going forward. And Saba was more of a drive at people. It's inconsistent because Saba's just inconsistent. That's just what he is.
Ball of chaos.
Yeah. It's a ball of inconsistency. Man. Yeah, if you're going to do that, I'd roll with what I got there. See if I got to improve right back, fine, man. But given the number he's on, I'm not sure I'm renewing Brooks. So, and if the kids are giving up 3 goals a game, what is changing from what's currently happening? Last 2 games notwithstanding, because DC and Toronto are basically legless people in a 3-legged race, just like Atlanta is right now with the attack. I mean, give me the kids. What would be different from what we are currently seeing? They're going to make mistakes, yeah. Are people going to lose their shit on social media? Yeah. Am I going to have to watch people complain? Or am I going to have to watch people complain about it the same way they did with George Campbell 3 years ago? And then George Campbell gets moved to Montreal, which I wish hadn't happened. Now he's going to go to England, which, God bless it, man. George was a very fun player to watch, a very fun kid to talk to when he was like 17 years old. And he just like overnight turned into this horse of a human being. But I had plenty of comments when he was struggling in his first few starts, asking, why are we playing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? He's not good enough. What is this? It's kids. We're into the same thing with Jaden Hibbert if Jaden Hibbert has to keep playing. Let's say Brad can't go Wednesday. Jaden Hibbert makes a mistake. I'm sure we'll see the same thing because get into the old Tommy Lee Jones line from Men in Black. Like, like, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals. When they get in a group, I'm sure we would just get like complaints about Jaden Hibbert left and right. It's honestly kind of like Sean Johnson, a matter of when he does something certified. We've seen, John, with the second team, Jaden Hibbert's heat map has zero fear about playing all over God's creation as a goalkeeper. Get the kids out, but get all the kids out there. If they make mistakes, so what? What would be different from what we're seeing?
Yeah, they're just younger people making mistakes, to your point.
People making mistakes who we don't know what their ceiling is.
And last match that the question was posed to the floor from Alex Last match that Stian Gregerson played was the match against Philly, April 19th. So you're coming up on 3 months without Stian Gregerson.
Jesus, I thought I was like stretching too far. I wasn't stretching far enough.
3 months. It'll be
Stian,
3
man.
months.
I do, but
it'll be 3 months on Saturday that Stian will not have played a competitive match, according to the match log on the Atlanta United website. 31 minutes. He was injured in the Philadelphia match and had to be pulled. That was the last competitive match that Stian Gregerson had this season for Atlanta United. And
Man.
so that's where you are with Stian. Let's see. So
yeah, so like, Stian is my guy who I'm looking at. If I can move him, especially now that I'm bringing in a new center back, who hopefully has a little bit of some bitch in him.
Yeah, Mihai.
But if I can if I'm bringing him in, and I've got Efra who is climbing up the rankings.
Efra's got some bitch in him.
Efra does. Sometimes a little too much. But he has his blood transfusion with all that combat ball has taken for damn sure. But I've got a Braum who's fine. One of the more common complaints with the Braum is he's not loud enough. He's just kind of a passenger at times. He does fine as a passenger if he's got a good driver in the other seat. But yeah, he's not very loud. And again, I'm not sure I'd renew Luis. I'd try and move him. But yeah, man, if I got a new center back who's got some bitch in him and who wants to do the job, I'll play him and a kid. If you're not going to let me play both kids. Hell, I wanted to see more. I was excited to see more Jay Fortune this year till the cat from Saudi Arabia decided to end his season like a jackass with a cheap-ass, worthless tackle that ruined Jay's season off the ball for no good reason.
Thank you, Irv.
And for some reason, Trinidad didn't send out a receipt.
That's another
God only knows why that cat didn't get scissor tackle
or something else. But yeah, the Irv Renard, Saudi Arabia, we're here to pick up a participation trophy. Boring as blank 90 plus minutes, and then just turn it into a street fight. Thanks for that. And so that's where we are with Jay Fortune.
Give me more Will Riley the rest of the way.
That probably will happen, especially in a match compression week.
Yeah, give me more Will Riley the rest of the way. Bartok Schliess seems to be one of the guys who answered the bell. And Bart ain't 100% perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I feel like he has answered the call to the I need y'all to be meaner. And I thought he's answered that call just fine. Figure out what you want to do with him. And Tristan, because I think, I don't know if when he comes back healthy next year, I don't know how you don't put Jay in that starting lineup every week with what he's been giving you this year before his injury. And maybe it takes some time for him to come back 100%. Figure out what you want to do with Will on the contract front. And maybe Jay slots into one of those U22 spots because he'll fit the parameters. And it's an easier hit on your salary.
Yeah, because Jay right now is making 109. Yeah, so I mean, Jay is just above veteran men. So Luke is min at 104. Veteran min at 104. Matt Edwards is rookie min at 80,622. Jay's at veteran min plus at 109. I said Ronald's at 275 base. Jaden Hibbert is rookie min at 80,622. Efra is at 104 base, so he's got the veteran minimum base with some incentives to take him north of 112. Will is rookie min at 80,622. Togashi is at 104. Aiden Torres is at rookie min at 80,622. So that's what you're staring at with those.
I don't know what you do with Aiden. Because it's like, so, and I know you were red hatting the other night, wearing multiple hats, John. At,
yes, I was. I was.
I was. I don't know what you do with Aiden because this is again, this is me now 2,000 miles away where I'm not able to watch it up close, and I'm not able to sit in the room with Steve Cook and ask him about it and kind of gauge how he's feeling about stuff.
Yeah.
From a distance, I feel like Cooper Sanchez is passing him.
And you've got Cooper Sanchez and you have Braden Dunham, but you've got to sign Braden Dunham.
Yeah, Braden Dunham might just go to school. I kind of hope he does. I kind of hope he doesn't. I would love to see him sign here, but if he does go to school, then let him go for a year or two. If you don't think you're going to have a spot for him other than occasionally he's playing for the twos, then maybe you let him go to school for a year or two, get stronger, get bigger, do the Will Riley thing. Because Will Riley had athleticism questions. I won't say issues, but questions when he went to Stanford.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's not a statement of fact. I thought he had athleticism issues. He addressed those. He got bigger, stronger, faster.
Yes.
If you don't know that Braden Dunham's 100% there, let him go to college for a year or two, figure it out, and then come back and see what he does. But Cooper Sanchez has been that dude with the twos. And I feel like we haven't seen Aiden make that jump.
Yeah. You got to keep an eye. On that. Gabriel Heinze is going to be the bad guy now for Mikel Arteta at Arsenal.
I love watching the rest of the world discover these sociopaths. Like England is going to learn about Gabriel Heinze as a manager. Not like I'm sure plenty of people know about him as a player. Like they're going to learn about him as a manager, and it's going to be very funny to watch, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Good on him. It's kind of like when Sebastian Becasese went to take over the Ecuador job. Like, oh man, bunch of people know about him. I'm about to know about him. That Becasese very likely is going to punch out a reporter, and that eventually will be the end of his time as the manager because he punches out a reporter.
Yeah,
non-zero chance that happens. Michael talking about Stian. It's like Stian's a weird one because I don't know if I'd say a bad signing, but like an unlucky one, yeah. Because he's been good when he's been on the field. And you would have to go check Transfermarkt, or one of us would. I don't know that he's had this kind of run of injuries before.
I can't think of that.
I don't know that he had this kind of injury luck before, because the injury luck has been absolute trash.
Yeah.
But he's been good when he's on the field. It's just been unfortunate. I think it was the right idea. He was the right idea of a signing.
Yeah. No question. Distressed asset from a club that needed the cash, and it was a chance to make that kind of a pickup, and that's what you did with Tristan. Same thing. You go to the French market, distressed asset, and Tristan under Ronnie Dyla. Ronnie loves what Tristan has done when it comes to embracing what he wants to do. And Stian, I'm trying to grab Stian's bio here for a second. So Stian, in his rundown, let's see. So it was.
Yeah, snake bit's a good word for it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the thing is, I just want to be careful. I wouldn't call it a bad signing, but a snake bit one, 110%, absolutely. Right down to the bank, baby.
Molde, Elfsborg, back to Molde, Bordeaux, and then that was where he was picked up. He was at Bordeaux as a starter, and Bordeaux was having financial issues, and he was their lockdown guy. I mean, he played 24 matches, 27 matches in all comps in 21-22. He played 37 in 22-23. Then played 14 to start in 23-24, and then came and played 28 matches, 32 matches in 2024 for Atlanta United, and then he's played 8 this season. So that's Stian.
Availability is an ability, and if you don't have it, you don't have it. And I got in a cap league, I got to do other things.
Yep. Fabrizio Romano, Thiago Almada, and Atletico Madrid. Atleti are fully aware of Thiago's desire to join the club, and negotiations are ongoing with his camp. Talks also underway with Lyon over deal details after an initial contract last Friday. So Fabrizio Romano has Thiago Almada's camp discussing things with Atletico Madrid. Perhaps at some point, I'm just saying, maybe Atlanta United will actually get paid.
Just send the check to Atlanta.
You know?
Just call
Yeah,
it interest
really?
and send the check to Atlanta. And then snatch a team away from John Textor, who's spending more time, talking trash and, just talking a big game, but ain't backing it up.
Yeah.
No, just maybe
It's like,
take
tell you what,
away
here's
from me.
what I'd like to do. I'd like to take my
Take the Rich
Botafogo-
Boys tours away from him.
Yeah, I want to take my Botafogo money and help pay my bills at Lyon. And the folks in France were like,
We're
nah,
not
fam,
playing. No, we're not playing Monopoly.
it's not going to work.
No,
And so
I
keep an
cannot.
eye on. Yeah, I know. You're right there with you. Well, I mean, Anthony, it was looking at a signing that you needed in a situation where folks needed money. That's what I mean by a distressed asset. It was not something like,
And to take that further, I think those signings were at a time when Garth was talking about issues with the salary cap.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
And I know he got on the radio a number of times at that point and was talking about the cap situation for Atlanta limited what they could do.
Yeah.
And they were looking for guys who were in a distressed situation where, that club needs money, so they'll take less than this guy's worth, and you were looking for deals.
Right.
But you're not in that situation anymore. To the wit, I would agree that now you're not looking unless you find that perfect deal where it's like, this guy is legitimately game changing and I can get him for a discount because he's at a mismanaged club, then great. But you don't have to shop in that aisle anymore. And it's the aisle that Garth was shopping in when he was especially talking about the cap situation for Atlanta being a problem.
Right.
That's my recollection.
That's where
I expect.
When I'm discussing distressed asset, I'm discussing
the
franchise that the individual is coming from, not the individual themselves. It's the financial situation of the club that makes him a distressed asset, where you can get something on the cheap or cheaper than you would have had to pay originally in the situation.
Yeah, it's just I get you. Like, it's just now you can shop at a better aisle.
Yeah.
And especially if you make a bunch of moves this summer, you can shop in an even better aisle.
Yes.
And then after this season, with some of these guys who are out of contract, you can stay shopping in that aisle and start dropping your TAM deals on other players.
Okay.
It is you can record this and just play it at the end of the season before the window, and you can probably play it next summer. Big window coming up.
Yeah.
Just record it and just save it. Because big window coming. Every window feels like a massive window, and it is exhausting.
Okay, so say it one more time. I'll shut up.
Big window coming up.
Okay, so I'm gonna save that as a drop.
And
then to Michael's question, to Michael's question, is Atlanta United ever getting paid? Seriously, how can they sell a player they did not literally purchase? I think it has to do with signed contract. Basically, it's like, okay, but you violated the terms of a contract, I think.
I think it was also done in payments. Like, you're not sending over a Zell for $20 million straight away. Yeah. You're doing payment plans, and you just started, and maybe they hit the first one or two and then just decided not to pay.
Yeah, because it's two separate. It's $3 million. One is $3 million plus interest, and the other is $18 million plus interest at 3%.
Yeah.
So
maybe they put the down payment on it, and then they just started not paying on that 2022 Silverado extended cap.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. Did I see this correctly? Teams are starting to mention All-Star. And so it looks like All-Star rosters are starting to be announced. Christian Espinosa, Carlos Heel, Hani Mukhtar, Marco Pasalic, Sam Surge, Obed Vargas are joining the All-Star roster. So the All-Star roster additions were announced this morning.
How's Hani Mukhtar not on the initial All-Star roster? He's having a great year.
Yeah, Mukhtar Suraj, Heel, Pasalic, Espinosa, and Obed Vargas were named as the 6 additions to the group involving the folks that are going to be heading to Austin for the exhibition game. That should not be an exhibition game. You should be playing yourself and not playing other leagues and other teams. That's just me. Like I said, that's just me discussing that kind of a thing. Let's see. So really quick before we get out of here, I'm going to lay the juice boxes out for tomorrow. And then we'll see how they change. Also, soccer on TV today. Copa America Femenina. Copa Sudamericana kicks back in on BN. 6 and 8:30, Central Cordoba and Cerro Largo, as Jarrett does his Irish goodbye, as he always does at the top of the hour. And Independiente del Valle, Vasco da Gama is at 8:30 on BN. Remember the BNs, you can get them at fanatisfntz.co/soccer down here. This morning, there was a Wrexham friendly with Sydney. They broke out new jerseys. I'm sure they'll sell out in a hurry. BN en Español simulcasting Central Cordoba and Cerro Largo. And Paramount Plus was simulcasting the Wrexham friendly. Copa America Femenina on FS1, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, Uruguay, Argentina, Peru, and Ecuador. Northern Super League, Halifax and Toronto on the plus at 5:30. Teal Rising Cup, Red Stars Palmeiras at 6, KC Current Corinthians, that is at 9 o'clock. So getting into the juice boxes just to set up that table before we get out of here. And remember that tomorrow, once again, it is Tyler, it is Dylan, and we'll find out what else is going on in and around the planet. On Thursday, Will Pelagic will discuss probably B of A Stadium being the 2026 All-Star host. Don Garber set to be in town tomorrow to discuss that. Will Pelagic, Nino Torres, Nico Moreno. So a stacked Thursday. And then Friday, get you ready for the weekend. But let's get into the juice boxes before we get out of here. And thanks to all of you folks for hanging out with us. Thanks to Jess Charman for joining us as she always does. And thanks to Lloyd Owers, the now head coach and technical director of the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, updating things as they're getting ready for their first ever 11v11s Outrigger Challenge Cup in a month in Springdale, Arkansas. Kickstarter has the campaign to try to help defray the costs of this massive endeavor that they have going on in Arkansas. Atlanta United favored at home against Chicago at a plus 114. Charlotte a minus 152, hosting DC United at plus 369. FC Cincinnati favored at home against Messi and Friends at a plus $1.25. Keep an eye on that. Red Bulls minus 115, hosting the Revs at a plus 290. Purple Team minus 145, hosting NYC at a plus 372. Philadelphia minus 238, hosting CF Montreal at a plus 580. Houston plus 125, hosting Vancouver at a plus 206. Minnesota plus 164, a slight dog to LAFC at a plus 152. Nashville a plus 104, hosting Crew at a plus 236. Seattle minus 204, hosting the Rapids at a plus 482. Galaxy a minus 106, hosting Austin FC at a plus 268. Portland plus 108, hosting RSL at a plus 231. San Diego a minus 303, hosting Toronto at a plus 719. San Jose a minus 159, hosting Dallas at a plus 355. I want to check real quick Austin before we get out of here. It is 15 goals scored for Austin, 5 of those from Brandon Vasquez, U.S. Open Cup hero Brandon Vasquez. 5 from Brandon Vasquez, 10 from the rest of the roster, 15 goals scored in 21 matches for Austin FC. Brad Stuver's only given up 23, but they've only scored 15. By far the most anemic offense in the West. And DC and CF Montreal have scored less than 20 goals in the East. 15 goals scored by Austin right now, this point of the season. And no Brandon Vasquez going forward. I mean, Michael, we fixed it. Michael's like, playing yourself is still an exhibition game. I think you still have to have something akin to an all-star game, but we fixed it. But I'd rather it be self-contained as opposed to playing Liga MX or playing Juve D or whatever it was when they came to town. But yeah, I would rather do something, have it fun. No one gets injured. Play, half the league. There you go. All right. Thanks to Jess. thanks to Coach Owers. Thanks to Jarrett. Thanks to y'all. Back at it again tomorrow, and we will push through the midweek and get you ready for your preps. We are chasing opposition research for Chicago, but you got a little bit of it with Jess calling the match for Apple TV. We should have the matchups and the ref assignments tomorrow, getting you ready for the matchups at Mercedes-Benz on Wednesday night. Looking forward to seeing everybody back there for a match in the midweek on a double match week. Set your fantasy teams accordingly. As always, great to see all of you folks. Oh, let me say hi to everybody. Michael, Tom, Anthony, let's see, Alex, Derek, Sharif on the other side of the world. Let's see, Anthony big in the conversation this morning. That's cool. Glad that Anthony's back in the conversation. There's Michael. There's Alex, Abby, Kefsey. Let's see, Abby, Kefsey, Tom, Alex. Who else am I missing? Dawn Star, Lokeville. That'll do. Thanks to all of you folks for coming in this morning, being a part of the Twitch pitch. Thanks to all of you who are not a part of the Twitch pitch, but still watching, still being a part of everything. Back in a little less than 22. Play it safe, everybody, since it's the end of the show. That means we get to do this. Back at it 9:05 tomorrow morning on a match day. See you soon.